What is going on, Fantasy Alarm Nation? My name is Justin Fensterman, along with Matt Sells and Ryan Halliman. It's time for another family meetup, the Family Times podcast here on fantasyalarm.com. In a very interesting spot, the huge MLB trade deadline and getting ready for our fantasy football drafts. And guys, what's going on, Sells? I mean, we were just talking a lot about some of the crap that we've been seeing on Twitter that's just been irking us a little bit regarding getting ready for our redrafts.
Yeah, this might be a rant-filled show from all of us. That might be where we're going with this episode. Also, by the way, we have football tonight, guys. We're recording this on Thursday afternoon. There's the Hall of Fame game on Thursday. So, yeah, I mean, football's back. We're all drafting fantasy football teams at this point. Had a massive baseball trade deadline that was huge in a variety of ways. So there's quite a lot to talk about this week.
How you doing, Ryan? What's going on in your neck of the woods?
It's about 130 degrees here today. I don't know what happened, why today is so hot. But,
I had that 2 days ago, so...
Oh, that explains it.
It caused my AC to go out.
I saw that. Going to see Jimmy Buffett later tonight, so that should be a good time. And,
Ooh, what's your favorite? Wait, number one, I'm not even going to ask this. You're going to wear some kind of Hawaiian shirt. That's definitely locked in.
I don't know that I own a Hawaiian shirt.
What? Dude, come on. I could see you owning like 3 Hawaiian shirts.
That's Howard Bender's thing. That's not...
Dude, but okay, so Howard Bender is the only person in the entire world that's allowed to own and wear Hawaiian shirts?
No, I'm just saying like one per company is enough. Ryan Halliman is
a chill, goofy guy. I could see the guy having a Hawaiian shirt for like a Hawaiian theme party. Hell, I'm high-strung and I have a Hawaiian shirt.
I mean, I'll have to look now. I'm not sure if I do or not. I went to Hawaii a few years ago, so I'll have to see if I have anything from them. I don't really remember, and then if it fits me, because, you know, it just expands by the day. So we'll see. One way or the other. It's something, be wearing something breathable, I guess I will say, because it's freaking hot out here today.
What's your favorite Jimmy Buffett song?
You know, I don't want to say everyone loves Margaritaville. Of course, it's the most famous song. I'm going with Cheeseburger in Paradise.
Yeah, Paradise. Yeah, I love that one. That's Volcano song. I love that one.
Volcano's a good one also.
Yeah. What about you, Sells? Are you a Jimmy Buffett guy?
I mean, a little bit. I get his island vibe. It's cool and all. His restaurant's pretty good. Not a huge Buffett guy though.
Oh, okay. You just made it seem like you were a Buffett guy.
I mean, his restaurants are cool. Food is tasty. The vibe is cool, but like, I'm not gonna go out and like listen to his entire back catalog.
Yeah.
It's like the most relaxing, cool. And you know, the thing you always hear, like, he's the biggest workaholic in the world, but he sings about just like hanging back and drinking beers.
Just wild. Wow, what a life! Just sitting back, drinking beers, enjoying life, singing songs. Damn, I'm jealous. But we get to do a lot of fun stuff too with what we do. And let's check in with both of you here on your teams here. Sells, I know you root for a few teams here, but let's check in on your nationals here. What's the deal? They're just, no one wants to be on this team. Is that just what it is? Juan Soto goes to the Padres.
Look,
and
Josh I've been talking about this for weeks now, and I feel like I'm the only sensible Nats fan at this point. But like, one guy doesn't win you a World Series. Okay, when you go back to the 2019 World Series, what did it take to win that? It took a healthy Strasburg, a healthy Scherzer, Patrick Corbin pitching out of his mind, a clutch hitting Anthony Rendon, a clutch hitting Trey Turner, Soto, and Ryan Zimmerman was still on the team. We had good Victor Robles. Like, that's 7 dudes that I just named that all time, like, that played very well at one time, and that's what it takes to win a World Series. If you sign Juan Soto for the 2 largest contract offers in MLB history, which is what he was offered, and turned both down, A, that sends a pretty clear sign he doesn't want to be there. B, if you sign him to, let's say, $36 million a year, which is kind of the rumored asking price, okay, you can't do anything else in free agency until Strasburg and Corbin's contracts are away, because you're still paying nearly $60 million a year to those guys. That's nearly $100 million in those 3 if you sign Soto to $36 million a year. And for the Nats fans that are complaining that they didn't sign Bryce and they didn't sign Rendon and they didn't sign Scherzer and now they haven't signed Turner or Soto, I'm sorry, but those 5 guys command about $1.5 billion in total contract value, which works out to be, I don't know, about $165 million a year in salary for those 5 guys. You really expect to win with that. The Dodgers, for example, have 3 guys making more than $20 million a year on their roster this year. 3. And it's the Dodgers, and everybody goes, oh, they got a ton of money. They have 3 dudes making more than $20 million. You wanted the Nats to sign 5 of them. Like, I'm fine with it. Look, it was going to take a haul to get Soto. They got the haul. I think it's a very impressive group of prospects. Yes, prospects don't always pan out, but I don't know, man. Everybody I trust in the industry says these are basically can't miss guys. So,
and 2 of them, let's
fine with
face it, have hit the majors. I know Abrams and Gore haven't done well, but
Gore did. He got injured.
Yeah,
but he was very good.
I thought they did very well. And as someone who has C.J. Abrams and Mackenzie Gore in leagues, I freaking love the trade because now I know they're going to play.
Right. So, like, and by the way, I think this, like, the Nats window to compete, had they signed Soto long term and then just let their farm develop, they wouldn't have been competing until at least 2026. Now the window to compete starts in 2024. So you just knocked 2 years. You got 2 years closer to fighting a World Series. They have the best farm system in that division. The Marlins still won't spend any money. The Braves are really the only threat. I know the Mets fans are pretty high on what Steve Cohen can do, but keep in mind the Nats are about to get a new owner, and all 3 of the owners that are in the race right now are all worth more than Steve Cohen. So I'm not all that concerned about Cohen's spending. So there is that. I thought it was weird the Cardinals would not include a guy that's almost to the day exactly as old as Juan Soto in the deal. They wouldn't include Dylan Carlson, who is, by the way, 2 days older than Juan Soto. Exactly 2 days older than Juan Soto. That was weird to me.
I don't find that to be truthful. I can't.
I mean, it makes no sense why you wouldn't include him in the deal to get Soto, right? Like,
yeah.
Carlson's got to be Babe Ruth for you to not make that move, right?
I mean, you and I had this conversation on Twitter. Like, what guy do they give? The Cardinals give $500 million. They don't. That's not who they are. That's not how they operate. So I was shocked that they were ever even in on it.
Yeah, I mean, they traded for Arenado and then got $50 million in back pay from the Rockies to cover it.
Yeah, I like that. That's not the kind of move they make. So I don't. And you know, as you had said, and I wanted to piggyback on that. One guy doesn't win you the World Series. I know we have the Cardinals have some other good talent. I know they have Goldschmidt and going for an MVP and Arenado and this and that. But I mean, not that they did a great job getting pitching, but I don't know that they have.
Hey man, Jordan Montgomery is reasonable.
I was shocked.
That was James Grande and I were beside ourselves for what you needed pitching. You got Montas to secure the rotation, assuming that Jordan Montgomery would be in the rotation, and then you traded him for a defensive shortstop who can't play until September because he's in a walking boot with plantar fasciitis. What are we doing, Cashman?
I have a Harrison Bader jersey, Cardinal jersey used. If anyone wants to buy that from me now.
No man.
What's the asking price? What's the opening asking price?
$10. What good does it do me now? I mean, he wasn't that great as a player. He had cool hair and a funny name and could run and play center field very well. But I mean, he was never my brother gave it to me. I didn't really ask for it.
Yeah, I have Jordan Montgomery on my contending fantasy baseball team, and I saw that, and I was just kind of like, what the hell, man? I mean, I like that he was getting the run support and everything, but now going to St. Louis, I just did not expect.
In fairness, it's an easier division,
right? That's
for
true.
him to pitch, right? Because nobody in the NL Central scares you,
right?
None of them.
So, last thing I want to talk about the trade then, because we always say the Cardinals have the classiest fan base. I went to Twitter because John Mozeliak, their GM, was trending after the Padres got Juan Soto. So I'm going to send a censored few versions of tweets that went to the Cardinals GM. John Mozeliak is a spineless C-word who doesn't know how to win. I hope John Mozeliak burns in hell. John Mozeliak has to have the smallest penis ever.
What does that have to do with anything?
Fire John Mozeliak into the sun. Let's see what else we have here. F you, John. Like, this is the garbage dump that Twitter is. So these are some of the lovely. John Mozeliak will reside in the deepest pit of hell. F John Mozeliak, such a piece of poop. This is a gotta love Twitter and rational people making decisions.
Yeah, fans are nuts. I spent the last 2 days arguing with friends of mine about how the Padres have an owner that's going for it. He's going for the win. Why? Because he traded for a guy? Like, trading for a guy does not prove that you're
going. Traded for a few guys. I mean, he freaking got Josh Hader.
Okay. Yes, he got Josh Hader, but he gave up. Like, that was an equal swap, right? You swapped a closer with control for a closer without control.
But he got Josh Hader.
He did, and I'm giving him props for that. But I'm talking specifically on the Soto deal, right? Because all the Nats fans are like, at least their ownership cares about winning. Okay, the last time they were in the World Series was 1998. They've made the playoffs like 3 times since. So they don't. This is a window. They're taking advantage of it. But before they got Soto, they also said that if they don't win with him, they can turn around and trade him in a year or two to go replenish the farm system. So nowhere in there did they say we're trading for him and signing him to a $500 million deal like the Dodgers did when they got Mookie Betts and signed him to a 10-year deal, right? So just because your team traded for somebody doesn't mean that your owner is fully committed to winning. It means he's reasonably sure he wants to pick up the guy for the next 2 years.
Sucks being in the same division as the Dodgers too, And
they're 12 games back.
Right. But it's just, when it comes down to Juan Soto, Nats fans just have to understand. And also he didn't want to be there.
He didn't want to be there.
Look, okay, you know what? I'm an Islanders fan, right? Franchise that gets made fun of all the time. I love John Tavares. He was awesome. But you know what? He didn't want to be there. He had a childhood dream of going back home and playing for the Maple Leafs. The Islanders could have offered him everything under the sun. He didn't want to be there. You really want someone on your team, even a team that you root for, that just doesn't want to be there? No. You want someone that wants to be there, that's going to be committed. You don't want someone that has that negative energy.
Right. The other thing is, by the way, also speaking to just more fans out there who just don't seem to understand the principle of negotiating against yourself, right? Everybody's like, well, they don't have to trade Soto because they have 2.5 years of control over him. They can keep negotiating. Here's the point. Let's say, because the last offer they actually made was 15 years and $450 million, no deferred, no backloaded, no nothing. It was straight up $30 million a year. If that's not enough for you, I don't know what's up with you. But let's say they go, okay, we'll bump it to $35 million a year in AAV. So we'll make it like 520 million. What happens when he says no to that? What happens? Because now you've just offered him $500+ million and he said no. So other teams are going to be like, well, we could trade for him, but we're not going to offer that much because the odds of us being able to sign him to an extension are pretty damn low if he doesn't want to sign for $500+ million for this one team. Right? So now you've shrunk the return on your all-time great player that we all believe Soto to be. There's literally no other option for the Nats other than trade him now, see how it plays out. If he doesn't sign an extension with San Diego, or you draft well in the next 2 years and you're close to winning in 2 years, you could trade back with San Diego to go get him as a rental. But what's the impetus for the Nats to keep upping? And this goes for all sports. If you have a guy that is turning down huge contracts, what is the impetus for your team to keep offering him huge contracts? Because either he takes it and then you're on the hook for a massive contract that you may not have wanted to do, or he doesn't, and then you've shrunk the trade market because everybody's like, he's not going to re-sign.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, the Nationals did the right thing. By the way, something totally off topic. You guys ever watch Family Guy at all?
It's been a while,
some.
but I used to.
Okay, so there's this song there because for all you Nats fans out there, if James Wood turns into anything, the "I Have James Wood" song for anyone that loves Family Guy, you edit it over a little bit, you cut out the plural of Woods, boom, got a little song if James Wood turns into something. Look at that magic right there. Meaning that if you listen to Alarm After Hours and he turns into something over the next few years, I'm giving you a preview. You will hear that song from Family Guy edited. As soon as I saw that someone named James Wood was traded, I don't know why. I have a sick mind. That was the first thing to come to my mind.
Yeah. Also, neat little fact for Nats fans: James Wood and this year's first-round draft pick for the Nats, Elijah Green, were high school teammates.
Interesting.
So, and some scouts actually consider James Wood to be the best prospect in the Pods system.
By the way, I misspoke. I'll admit when I'm wrong. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. I didn't realize this. The Cardinals have actually allowed the third fewest amount of runs in the National League this year.
Yeah, because their division sucks.
Right. I just, I find that interesting. I guess I didn't realize it was this low,
Yeah,
This is
I mean,
impressive number, 404. Pretty impressive number.
it's pretty impressive, but like the Pirates are in the division. The Reds are in the division. The Cubs are terrible. Yes, the Brewers are leading the division.
Yeah, but
like,
anybody can get blown up,
I mean, look at the Red Sox.
Yeah, I find it very interesting that they are number 3 in the National League at 404. So when I was saying before with Jordan Montgomery, I mean, you know what? Maybe it won't be so bad in St. Louis.
No, I
No,
think
they
he'll
win
be
a
just
decent number of games. Yeah, I think he'll be a similar pitcher.
Yes. All right.
yeah.
So we're going against, I believe we're contractually obligated in August to at least spend 51% on everything we do football at this point here. So guys, let's flip it over to football. And let's talk about some of the confusing news here because we could talk about the crazy MLB trade deadline the entire day. But I mean, look, the Deshaun Watson saga continues. Just when we think we're out, they pull us back in. NFL appeals the decision. And it becomes murky because I don't know how to value him. I don't know how, because with someone as good as Deshaun Watson, it makes a huge puddle in our ADPs and our trends with where the rest of the quarterback group is going based off the number of games he's going to be suspended. And I'm seeing him go in drafts now already with the 6 games still not knowing what he's going to face. I see him now going in that 10th round area, and it's only going to go up. It's only going to go up. And we don't know how long we're waiting for. Guys, I almost feel like with this team, we're stuck in the mud for a while.
I'd rather lose than even have him on my roster, to be honest. So I'm not even considering him. He's not even a consideration for me to be drafting. But at the same time, if you were, I mean, 6 is still a third of the season, even if it's 6 games. So it's not like he's going to put up. Okay, so guys going towards the end of QB1 or like Matthew Stafford or Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr, he's not going to put up better numbers than them in 2/3 of a season. He's just not. He's not that good. I mean, it's still the Browns. Their offense isn't that great. Their best receiver is Amari Cooper, and after that, Donovan Peoples-Jones. I mean, they're going to run the ball a lot. Yeah, he can run the ball, but he's not going to put up better numbers than some of these guys in 2/3 of the season. Fine, you can pick up Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson and double tap and play Cousins for the first 6 weeks or 2 or something like that and get through and be fine, but I don't know.
Yep. I mean, where are Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, and Derek Carr's first wide receivers going in drafts? All going in like the first round.
Right.
Because you know who they are? They're Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, and Devontae Adams. There ain't nobody on the Browns receiving core.
Take a guess. Take a guess. I have the numbers in high stakes leagues over the last 2 weeks. Take a guess. I'll give you within 5 of the number. What number is Amari Cooper been going over the last 2 weeks, would you say?
90.
What do you think, Cells?
I would say Cooper's probably about 50.
Close, Cells. 67.
67. So that's what, the 6th round, 7th round, 6th round, right?
In a 12 team league, that's the middle of the 6th round.
That's, to me, it's crazy. I feel like we're on the same page here. I don't feel he's been that great over the past couple of years on a much better offense, and now he's going to have Jacoby Brissett for the first 6 weeks of the year. So, like,
at best, he might have him for the whole year because the NFL appealed. Now, there's rumors to be an injunction that'll slow that down, but, like, who knows? That's the point. You can't draft him with this much limbo and waste draft capital. Like, let's set aside the fact that he's a reprehensible human being, right? Let's set that aside, because I'm not drafting him probably because of that. There's enough quarterbacks in the pool that I can avoid an alleged sexual assaulter, right? I just don't think the weapons around him are that good. And I know that, like, he didn't have that many weapons around him in Houston, but he had DeAndre Hopkins.
And Will Fuller, when healthy, was better than anything. Will Fuller, when healthy, was better than anything the Browns have.
Did he or did he not have Brandon Cooks for a year?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I can't remember.
That's a good question. We'd have to look that up. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if we had him for a year. But yeah, it's definitely of a significant downgrade for him as far as weapons are concerned, as far as offense is concerned. I mean, they still have Chubb and Hunt. It's going to be a running team. I know Watson is good, but I just think even if
also the defenses in that division are not helpful either.
No,
Baltimore should be better. Pittsburgh's a pretty good defense. Cincinnati is turning into a pretty decent defense. Not great, but still pretty decent. So, like, I don't know what we're doing about that. Like, I really don't get why people are hell-bent on drafting Deshaun Watson simply because he's back. He's also took a year off. Like, he was inactive, like, the whole season last year. I don't think he even practiced. So now you're just taking a guy a year plus removed from football with a new system, new teammates, worse surrounding staff, and not having him for the first 6 games?
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like we're on the same page. But you know what? It's all for fantasy football Twitter. You know, we all have to have our takes. And I swear to you, I'm sure that when the news came out the night before that the decision was going to come down at 9 a.m. the next day, that a lot of people set their alarms to wake up just so we could tweet about them. Like the world would end if we didn't have certain people's opinions about every situation. So I don't know. It's a weird world we live in right now as far as I feel like training camp Twitter has become more annoying than off-season Twitter, which is astounding.
Yeah, I would completely agree on that one. Like, these training camp clips we're seeing on Twitter now are insane. This guy caught a ridiculous pass with no pads, shorts, and his own friendly defense facing him. And now he's going to be the greatest wide receiver in the history of football.
Wan'Dale Robinson is running with the first team on the second day of camp. Move him up 4 rounds. Like, what the hell? Like, I just don't understand. Are we that just hard on to give our own opinions? So many, like, we don't have to have our opinions every moment of every day about everything that happens. Just relax. It's August 4th. There hasn't been a preseason game. It's been a week of training camp. You don't know what's going on. You don't know why these things are, the first day, Ramondre Stevenson's playing in the first, and Damian Harris. Like, that doesn't mean anything. It's the second friggin' day of camp. Let's relax. I know we have drafts going. You have the Fish Bowl, Warrior Bowl, Puppy Bowl, Belly Bowl, Bowl, all these drafts going on. But for Christ's sake, just friggin' relax. It doesn't mean anything yet. Let's see what happens. So, Damian Harris could, I don't want to say something, I was going to give an injury, and I don't want to do that because I don't want to potentially jinx somebody. But anything can happen tomorrow. That just makes what you said yesterday completely useless. Like, just relax. That's all I'm asking. Just relax.
So you're channeling Aaron Rodgers, is what you're saying?
Oh, God, anything but that.
Can he spell relax, though?
I don't know. I just
he did on the radio that, like, when he went on, I don't know, a year or so ago, he spelled it. But that's another guy I'm not drafting this year. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too.
I don't care how otherworldly the guy's talents are. He's got nobody to throw to. It's just that simple.
See, I'm going to say this. He is no one really fully proven to throw to. But I'm taking shares. I know he's hurt. Again, Christian Watson is a big-bodied receiver. It's not just because of the situation with the Packers. I like the way this guy profiles. He's got explosiveness. He's got speed. I don't want to be, cliche and say he's the complete package. But with the size and speed combination that he has, I just feel like by the second half of the season, we're going to be talking about this guy.
So you're going with a New England Patriots Tom Brady argument here, that even though Tom Brady never had bona fide receivers, you still took him in fantasy.
Well, they put actual draft capital into this guy. I don't think that they did that just for show. I think that they plan on using him. He's a good receiver, man. He's big. I'm telling you, it's going to be hard to take down.
Okay. I mean, maybe, but there's like 15 other quarterbacks I'd take ahead of Aaron Rodgers this year for fantasy football.
Well, I'm just talking about it from the Watson standpoint. I'm not talking about it from Rodgers. I have 0 shares of Rodgers thus far.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But, like, I also saw a tweet today that was like the practice reps between Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon were split 54-46 instead of 70-30. I'm like, that's how they were last year. Why is this news?
Well, it's because we're making it news. That's why. It's because people are all over Twitter trying to take something and magnify it so they can get the looks
This was a beat writer for the Broncos.
Right.
That tweeted it. I'm like, that's what it was last year. The 50-50 swap. And both of them were fantasy relevant. So, I don't understand the whole panic about Denver. By the way, what are you doing with Kyler Murray at this point? Given Marquise Brown getting arrested for felony speeding.
Well, I don't think that's gonna get him. I don't think that's gonna get him any games. Felony speeding?
He talked to a cop that usually gets you suspended.
I guess I
also doesn't have Hopkins for 6 weeks.
Yeah, I guess, and Kirk is gone. Yeah, I don't know that I've drafted Kyler Murray yet. I still think he's in like the 6 to 9 range for me, 7 to 9 range for me. He's not like if I'm not getting one of the top few, I'd rather wait for Brady, Stafford, that kind of like, and I'd rather wait a couple more rounds than draft Kyler Murray.
He's going in the 6th round right now. Over
That's
the last
too high.
weeks. Okay, I'd rather have Joe Burrow than him. There.
Yes.
Yeah. Forgot about Burrow. Yeah.
So that Burrow's going right around there. I'm going to choose Joe Burrow every single.
And by the way, I think that's a steal for Burrow. I think I probably have Burrow as like my number 1 fantasy quarterback this year.
They're going literally at identical spots. It doesn't even seem like it's much of a decision.
Well, I think Burrow is my number 1 guy this year. I really do. I don't give a about the rush yards and whatever else, because what happens to rushing quarterbacks? They get hurt.
Sells. I know I'm bringing you on Alarm After Hours tonight. We might have to actually bring you in for this because, when talking to Adam Ronis, on the show, he's very into the running quarterbacks. And I feel like we're splitting a little bit because I am going after the guys like Tom Brady. I've been going after Joe Burrow. I feel like it's not that I'm closed-minded. I just like the guys that are great at throwing the football and the value that we're getting them at. Meanwhile, I feel like his focuses are elsewhere, including maybe guys like Jackson or Jalen Hurts, but what you're saying is right.
So here's my counter
Trey
argument.
Lance even likes.
Here's my counter argument to that. The rushing quarterbacks usually only have one passing threat in the passing attack. Lamar Jackson has a tight end and a yet to be fully proven former first round pick in Bateman, right?
But
Kyler
Trey
Murray
has Kittle and Debo.
Okay, but they've had to promise Debo they're not using him as a running back this year.
I don't know about that. There's incentives in his contract.
Yes, right. Then they gave him incentives. They told him they're not going to use him as a running back, and then they gave him the chance to make like more than $1 million if he carries the ball.
They're going to use him as a running back. They're going to use him as a running back.
Like I don't know. That's my Jalen Hurts. Okay, he runs because he can't throw. Like he's not a very good passing quarterback. Neither is Lamar Jackson.
Do you think for Hurts that's a product of the weapons or lack thereof? Now that he has A.J. Brown, do you think A.J. Brown's a good enough receiver that if he does throw a few off-kilter passes, Brown could go up there and pull him down?
I think for Hurts, it's a factor of, I did this in high school. I got recruited to go to Oklahoma. I did it in Oklahoma. I won the starting job over a passing quarterback. Now I did it some more at Oklahoma, got drafted highly, and now I'm a starting quarterback in the NFL. Like, I think that's his mindset, is I ran the whole time, so that's what got me here. There's no reason to change, right? Maybe getting A.J. Brown helps, maybe, but maybe the guys in Philly couldn't catch the ball because Hurts couldn't throw it very accurately. Anybody think about that? I mean, so that's kind of my thing with rushing quarterbacks, is that usually there is a limited number of skill guys on the outside. So if opposing defenses stop one of them, quarterback has to run. Yes, you get more points for less running yards than you do passing yards. But guys like Burrow and Brady and Stafford and, heck, even Kirk Cousins are putting up consistent 300-yard passing games and multi-touchdown showings, and that's enough for me.
Yeah, I mean that's a big division there. It's almost like what quarterback are you going to go with? Are you going to go with the running quarterback? Because it's all like they're all pretty stacked and scattered. That's the thing. But then if you look at over the last few weeks, I mean, you look in that area where you have Kyler Hurts going in that spot, and then after that you've got Lance going still right outside the top 100. But it'll be interesting to see. But I'm noticing that there's a lot more emphasis on those running quarterbacks. But you're right. I mean, what other options do they have when throwing the football? Guys, let's actually talk a little bit about what we're bringing to the family table here on Family Times podcast. Ryan, you want to get us started this week?
Sure. It is just about a week away, which I'll be attending, and several other of the family members, is the Fantasy Football Expo next weekend in Canton, Ohio. Of course, run by the great Bob Lung. If you haven't gotten your ticket yet and you're anywhere near the Canton, Ohio area, I really, really, really suggest finding a way to get out there. There's going to be so many people, fun things. There's a poker tournament. There's like quarterback competitions. Football guys are giving away a Jonathan Taylor signed jersey. We have a Nick Chubb signed jersey for a game where we're going to have questions about the family, drafts, speakers, beers, parties. It's a blast. I can't wait to go next Friday. So if by any chance you're on the fence about going or not, come on and join us at the Fantasy Football Expo next weekend.
There you go. I'm thinking about it, Ryan. I'm thinking about driving out. I'm thinking about driving out for a day. That's the thing. I've got to do a little fill-in work, but I'm thinking about driving out for a day just to see everybody. So it'd be great to see you. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Dude, you're one of the coolest kids on the block. So if you're willing to hang out with me, then yes. Yes.
Canton's absolutely. Like what, a 5-hour drive for you, Fensty?
Like 5.5, I'd say 5. So I'm doing Alarm After Hours. That day I'm doing both shows because everyone's traveling. So I figured I'd get like 4 hours of sleep and then travel. And while the drafts are going on, maybe take a nap or something and then meet you guys. So we'll see. It's on the table though. So it'd be good to see you out there.
It starts the day after my birthday, so you know it's going to be a party.
Ooh, birthday shots. Right, Sells, what are you bringing to the table?
Oh, there's just so much to bring to the table. But I'm gonna go with what we were riffing on before we started recording, and that's, can we stop showing clips of guys in shorts running a route they're supposed to run and then saying they're gonna be greater than Jerry Rice? Really? Really? They're going against their own team, and half of these teams have terrible defenses. Right? Like the Chiefs. I saw this with the Chiefs, right? Sky Moore laid out and caught a pass. Okay, that's what Sky Moore is supposed to do. But Sky Moore then beats a corner on a route that Sky Moore knows very well because he made a killing on it in college. And Patrick Mahomes, who everybody loves because he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, hits him, and it's a dime, and it's great. And everybody's like, Sky Moore's going to be a problem. Okay, aren't you the same person that just crapped all over the Chiefs' defense because they have no good cover corners? Right? So the rookie receiver who's beating a bad corner is all of a sudden going to be great when he faces, like, the Chargers, who have 6 all-pro corners signed this year or whatever, or the Rams, or any other competent NFL defense. Really? This is really what we're doing? Is, I mean, I know it's August and people love football, but can we get a grip? And please, for the love of God, don't change your NFL rankings because you saw a guy run a great route in shorts in the beginning of August against a second string corner. Like, then, nah, man. This is what happened to Mecole Hardman. People saw him hit a 75-yard route in his rookie year, and everybody's like, he's going to be awesome. What the hell happened to Mecole Hardman? Nothing. He's not done a dang thing. So can we settle this down? It's not just the Chiefs. I've seen it for the Giants. I've seen it for the Cardinals. I've seen it for the Panthers. Hell, I saw Miami wide receivers doing it the day after somebody crapped all over Tua. Settle it down, folks. It's August. Stick with what you know, and by week 1, 2, or 3, you'll figure out if there's a wrinkle, and then make a move.
Right. Right. That's really, you know what? You got to be careful with the overreaction, and you got to be careful with people that are deceiving you just to get you into their train of thought. People are going to be making these hot takes that have no basis doing it. People are going to steal other people's takes, but don't have the research behind it, and you're going to have to do your best to sift through that. And this is where I am going to talk about average draft position. Look, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I do the ADP TV series on fantasyalarm.com, the video series talking about different player ranges where they're being drafted. But that's all it is. And that's where a player is being drafted. Howard Bender said this perfectly on Fantasy Alarm on SiriusXM a few weeks ago when he said the ADPs are where players are being drafted, not where you should draft the player. It all comes down to interest level of the player. If you have a draft target and yet you're seeing them go at a certain point, well, let's say it's a target that's on your favorite team and you're with a bunch of people from your hometown that root for that favorite team. You can't just stick to where their range is. You got to overdraft that player if that's a player that you want. And that's why you got to use it as a guide and a backboard and not just the way. Find your draft targets and stay organized. And the big thing that is as well for sleepers and all that kind of stuff, because different draft sites and software have different rankings, get to the draft 15 minutes early and fill up your queue. That will keep you on track with your own draft list. And that's something that's so important, and so many people don't show up. I'm sick and tired of being a fantasy sports commissioner, and it's 7 minutes before the draft or auction, even more stress, because everyone really has to be there. It's 7 minutes before, and over half the league is not there. Being fashionably late means jack when it comes to fantasy sports. It's for commissioners. As a commissioner, I want everybody in there 10 minutes before. When that clock countdown hits 10, I want. That never happens, though. Always with 2 minutes to go, I'm sending texts out to people who I texted earlier in the day to remind them that the draft is tonight, that, hey, 2 minutes, dose. I feel like the freaking Heat, DJ. I'm tired of it. Okay? Stop with this being last minute. Get there early and do yourself a favor. Set your queue as well. You don't know one of your favorites could be Berry. Find that. Put it in your queue so you don't forget about the player. That's all I'm going to say. It's annoying, guys.
I show up to draft room at least 20 minutes early. I get a feel for where everything is so I can know how to manipulate the views that I want. I get a feel for where they have players ranked because, like, oftentimes ESPN will bury rookies or RT Sports buries rookies or Yahoo is missing half of a team. You got to be able to find these guys because you don't want to be in the 6th round going, hey, I want this guy, and you didn't scroll down to player 1,300 on the rankings to go find him, right? There's a search bar. You got to be able to find that stuff and double check your league rules before you draft, especially for those of you who are in a bunch of different formats. You don't want to be caught flat-footed going, oh, I thought it was only a 2 wide receiver league and it's a 3 wide receiver league, or you forget it's super flex, or, And for the love of God, one more thing, don't extrapolate numbers. Just don't. I saw some fantasy football guy going, Trey Lance is going to win you a championship because in his 2 starts he put up 20 points. Okay? That happened to be against terrible defense. And nobody had any film on him. They ran a completely different offense for him than they did for Jimmy G in those starts. And you can't be going, hey, he had the 4th most expected fantasy points out of what? 12 freaking pass attempts? Like, you can't extrapolate because what that happens is, like I was saying earlier, if a guy runs for 150 yards in week 1, does that mean he's going to run for 2,400 yards during the season? A number that's basically never been hit in the history of the NFL? No, because extrapolation sucks.
Yeah, you just reminded me. I heard someone weeks ago go on a radio show and they were talking about the rebounding leaders, and they were clearly just reading down the list. The problem is they read a player who no one recognized. Why? Because they played in 5 games all year long, and that is it. But in those 5 games, right at the end of the year, they pulled down a ton of rebounds. 5 games, that's it, though. So that just reminded me of that right there, and just haunts my dreams. Just, follow Ryan Hallam, who doesn't haunt my dreams. He makes all my dreams come true, and all of yours as well. At Fighting Chance on Twitter. Mr. Nostalgia himself, also someone that does a lot of fun brackets. You need some fun in your life. Everyone's so serious. Ryan wants to talk cereals. So that's, you know what? That's where I'm with Ryan there at Fighting Chance. And also Survivor coming up as well. Matt Sells, give him a follow. All your NASCAR work you can handle is done by Matt Sells at the Salesman on Twitter. I'm at Fensty Sports. Family that sticks together, wins together. We'll be back next week. More on fantasy football, more getting you ready to dominate your leagues.